I can make a dream go away. I can make the dreams go away. I can make the dreams go away. I can make the dreams go away.
Hello, hello. It's Fabienne, and welcome to Pivot Your Business. I feel very fortunate that we are going to have this conversation today. I've been pouring my heart and soul into creating these solutions for you. These are things I'm doing myself, the things I'm telling all of our members of Boldheart Business to do. And if you see a shoulder, that's my husband, Derek, who's helping me.
Just check to see if they're coming on.
And so if you're just coming on, please say hello in the comments below. We're going to have 2 hours today. This isn't something that we can talk about in just 30 minutes. There's so many resources I am sharing with you today. So as you're coming on, please do say hello in the comments. I will be checking. I've got 2 laptops. I will be checking the comments. Oh, here you are. Good. Ravital, hello. And Karen, Laura, great to have you. Teresa, Monica, Claudia. So good to have you all here. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Evie and Ellie and Milena. So great to see all of you. Hi, Valerie. Really important conversation that we're going to have today. I have been sharing this several times over the last few weeks, really week and a half with our members. And some may have first come in with a little bit of panic, big questions, big uncertainty. And as a result of me taking them through this process, this 7-step process that I've put together over the last couple of weeks, they have felt relief. They have felt optimism, hope. This is the message that I kept getting, is hope. And this is what I want for you too. So the whole idea is for you to take a lot of notes today and be in a place where, just be totally focused over the course of our time together. And I'm here to support you in every way that I can. So let's see. Oh, hello, Monica from La Rochelle. Great to have you here, everybody. Am I ready to go?
I got it.
Okay. And how's that?
Hold on.
Got to figure out how to do the presentation. We got to get rid of this.
Yeah.
So while we're doing that, I would love to hear in the comments how you're doing in this time. What is your morale? How's it going and all of that? And then I'll get started. So we are here to pivot your business. Like I said, this is the 7-step process that I've put together in these times of uncertainty. And Derek, can you help me with this? I want to make sure that they're side by side. I think, okay, sounds great. So I'd love to hear about your morale if you're willing to share. Ton of content for you today. So I'm here to share. By the way, this is all goodwill. There is no sales pitch coming at the end of this. This is not the time for ambulance chasing and opportunism. I'm here to give you resources. We even have a resource sheet, I think 2 or 3 pages long, with lots of the things I'm doing. But I'm here to give you 7 pivots that you get to make. And I'm saying get to make because it's not that you have to make, it's not that you need to make. I'm sharing with you that we can come to this with an idea of abundance, whereby a lot of people are in fear out there and are really contracting. These are some of the pivots that we get to make. So I'll cover all of them today, and we will give you a resources sheet with everything I'm currently using, working on, both in my mindset and many other ways to look at this situation differently. My intention is to have you move forward with certainty. Okay, so first of the 7 pivots is to pivot your facts. And some people didn't expect that the first time I shared this, but I think it's really important to look at where you're getting your facts from. I'd like to start by saying that all pandemics and all epidemics come and go. There's just the way that a lot of people are looking at this as if it's the end of the world and it's going to last for years and years. But all of these crises, when they happen, they rise and then they fall. Sometimes they rise quickly and they fall just as quickly. And I'm here to remind you that this too shall pass. This too shall pass. It will pass, likely pass through the cold season and the flu season, which is winding down around now in the Northern Hemisphere. So this isn't something that's going to last for another 6 months or so, but people are reacting as if it is going to last for 6 months, a year, that we're doomed. And that's not necessarily the case. What I know from what I've been reading is this is actually, while tragic in some respects, this is also setting us up for our immune systems to adjust and get used to. This is actually fortifying us in many different ways. And so I'll give you some resources to think about this. So instead of thinking, oh my gosh, this is doomsday, it isn't. It's really important that we talk about the fact that dwelling on the problem and dramatizing it and discussing it with fear and talking about it and getting panicked about it is only going to run your immune system down and make you more vulnerable. Listen, it's true. I haven't had a conversation in the last 2+ weeks with any human being without talking about this in some way, shape, or form. It's not, those who've worked with me at Boldhearts for a long time know that I'm always saying it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So yes, I've been talking about it, but the idea of dwelling and dramatizing and panicking is the how you do it part. So I really want to invite you to be really careful about how you discuss this. You're probably going to discuss this in every human conversation for quite some time now, but it's how you do it. So pivot your facts is about not just looking about what's not going well. It's also about being aware that there's actually a lot of positive movement happening because of this virus, despite what the sensationalist media will want you to think. There is positive in this, and I invite you to go look for it. Now, I've been sharing that there aren't many true journalists anymore. Journalism with an objective eye doesn't really exist in our times. The media is a money-making operation, and getting you in panic and getting you in fear is how they make money. And we'll discuss this in a few minutes. So it's super important that you remember that the news organizations are feeding you, spoon feeding you facts that benefit them, as opposed to facts that benefit you and your immune system. So I'm inviting you to sift through the sensationalism and look for the good news and the positive movement. Please write that down. Look for the good news and the positive movement in all of this, despite the tragedies. In doing so, you'll see, and I put a link in the resources sheet about places where you can get some news. You'll see some different aspects than what's being shared with you in the media. So, for example, the as you see from this chart, the deaths from this virus peaked, and now they're on the low and the very low numbers. The outcome of cases, recovery, or death in China, the death rate is much lower, and the recovery rate is much greater. the newly infected versus newly recovered, you'll see these spikes here I'm sharing with you. These are the things that the media is not sharing with you. There is positive movement here. You'll see that there was a daily new cases spike in mid-February in China, and none or very, very few now. I'm sharing all of this with you so that you can see that it is getting better. And you get to decide how to look at this. And I would love for you to write that down. I decide how I look at this. A lot of the people with severe symptoms from this virus are people who already had a weakened immune system. The rest, as I understand it correctly, as many as 97% of the people who have the virus now don't have many symptoms at all, or just a mild flu. Sometimes people spike with fevers, but then they recover completely. I know of 2 people who have, no, actually now 3, who have had the symptoms and are completely recovered. So now their entire family is immune from any more of this. And so it doesn't mean that just because you have it or you might get it, that you have to panic. And I know you're thinking, I thought we were pivoting your business here. But as I'll be sharing, if you're in a place of panic around whether you have it, whether you're going to get it, you won't be focused on pivoting your business. And I have to be vulnerable with you. About a week and a half, maybe more, 2 weeks ago, I started having shallow breathing for at least 2 days. And I got a little scared, I have to tell you. I thought about my family, infecting my family. I thought about my life's purpose. I thought about my clients. I thought about the loves of my life. And I thought, oh my gosh, am I getting it? Am I going to survive? Will there be room in the hospital for me? And what I'm here to say is, based on what I'm sharing with you here, I was able to get through it within 2 days. So yes, many are confirmed as having the virus, but many don't have any symptoms. And at the same time, there are others who are affected gravely, even though it's the same virus. So some people have a lot of symptoms and some people do not. And what this points to me is it points to the individual as the key to whether they get sick or not. So not everyone is experiencing this in the same way, which means that our physical condition dictates how much we can and how much it might or might not affect us. It's our physical condition that affects this. So this means that we can choose to focus on maximizing our immunity as a direct course of action, right? So focusing on maximizing your immunity. This gets you in action. And here's what I will say to you. I've been teaching this in business for many, many years. If you are in fear, then you will spiral. But the way to get out of fear is to get in action. Now, you may not know what to do to get in action with your business, but you can get in action by working on your immunity and really looking at what you can do with your health to feel stronger. Because if you're in action, then fear subsides. So this is not so much about the virus itself, the way I'm looking at it, but about the state of the immunity of the individual, your state of immunity. So this moves us to point number 2, which is to pivot your health. Pivot your health. So yes, we will pivot your business, but first let's find some practical ways to become the most resilient you can be. And like I said a moment ago, if you are in fear or not feeling well, you will not be in a place to pivot effectively. So today, pivot your health is about going beyond what the officials are telling you to do. Yes, you're going to stay home without question. You are going to quarantine. You're not going to go outside. There are still people going outside and being with others and doing things. That is This is a virus that travels, right? You're going to wash your hands incessantly. You're not going to touch your face unless you've washed your hands, right? And if you must go outside, you stay at least 1 yard, couple yards away from others. You're going to move away from people who are coughing or sneezing. That's what they've been telling us. And in times when things seem out of control, I want you to get that it's actually still within our control to make sure that we eat wisely, that we sleep more soundly, that we breathe deeply, that we take care of our own immunity as a total priority. So here's a disclaimer when we're talking about pivoting your health. I am obviously not a doctor. I'm a business coach. I'm a life coach. So this is not my medical advice. It is just what I've been doing currently to strengthen my own immunity. You take what you can. I'm sure you have other resources as well. If you disagree, that's fine too. I'm just sharing some resources because these are the ones that our clients have been using to feel so much better. So I first looked up, okay, if this is about my immunity, what are the best foods for boosting immunity? And in the resources sheet, I've provided you the first link that I looked for, so you can go online, but it's basically citrus, bell peppers, although I don't eat bell peppers, so I'm not going to eat those, but broccoli, garlic, ginger, spinach, yogurt, almonds, turmeric, papaya, poultry, sunflower seeds, shellfish, etc. And I basically looked at what do I have in my pantry? What do I have that I make regularly that boost immunity? So I have citrus. Great. We've been buying more of this. This is blood orange season. So we're making salads with blood orange and making broccoli soup. I'm putting garlic in everything. I found some ginger in my freezer. I've been making spinach soup. Today I made spinach tart. I make my own yogurt, so that is already a thing. I make my own chicken bone broth every single week religiously, which is why I actually think that we have not gotten sick as a family and many things like that. So what you'll notice is many of these things are plant-based. And here's what I remember. I don't know if you know this about me, but my first business was actually a holistic health nutrition business. I was a holistic health coach. And what I learned then is that disease cannot live in an alkaline environment, right? And if you know about alkaline acid, you understand it's a pH thing. And I have had many clients who have used a holistic approach to changing the alkalinity of their blood using food and cured themselves from stage 4 cancer, like many clients. And I know people just in my everyday holistic circles. So Chris Carr talks about this in Crazy Sexy Cancer. I had a client who once said the way that she cured herself of her cancer was to ask herself anytime she was about to put something in her body, is this loving to me? Is this loving to me? And if it was, let's say, a can of Coca-Cola, is this loving to me in my body? And if the answer was no, she wouldn't have it. If it was green tea, is this loving to me? Yes, then she would have it. And making those decisions in this time of this COVID-19 coronavirus, whatever we're calling it these days, is the same thing. Is this going to make my blood more alkaline, or is this going to make my blood more lower on the pH scale? And I'll share this with you. When you eat alkaline food and drink alkaline, and I'll show you some charts right here in just a moment. I've given you some charts in the resources document. You eating or drinking something alkaline will make alkaline blood. Blood will make alkaline organs, and your organs dictate how you think and how you react. So this is super important. So you can go online and find 1,000,001, especially on Pinterest, 1,000,001 at a glance acid alkaline food lists. Okay. I've included a couple here, but frankly, there's so many, and they vary slightly. It's really interesting. Sometimes a food belongs on the acid list in one and in the alkaline list in the other. But here's what I want you to get. It's not about being like, oh my God, what kind of food specifically? I just want you to notice that there are highly acidic foods, which is not what you want, right? And there are highly alkaline foods, and this is what you want. But you can also stay in the middle, right? The key is to be more alkaline. You don't want to be highly alkaline, right? More alkaline than acid. So what are some acidic foods? Meat. Just think about all the processed foods, all the things that are not necessarily plant-based. One of the best things that you can do is eat more vegetarian. I'm not vegan. I'm not fully vegetarian. But what I'm doing is we're looking at more plant-based options for lunch and dinner for my family. So chickpea salads with tomatoes and red onion and a vinaigrette and the spinach that I talked about, and vegetable soups for dinner or lunch, things like that. So just think less processed food, more plant-based, if at all humanly possible. Organic is best. These things boost your immunity. Just think colorful plate. Think less like cheeseburgers and ribs, and think more like salads and veg and fruit and things like that. Some of the things that I'm doing is basically having green tea all day. All day green tea or lemon ginger tea. My spirulina tablets, where did I put them? They're right here. Oh no, that's something else. But I have these spirulina tablets that I take. Mine are in a little Ziploc bag, not as fancy as this, but they boost your immunity. This isn't necessarily the kind you have to get, but this is one of the things I'm doing and I have been doing. And I think it helped me just get rid of that shallow breathing after just a couple of days. Green superfood powder. This is the one that I'm using by Vibrant Health, but it really, you're basically looking for lots and lots of superfoods. You don't have to do this. I'm just sharing with you what I do. Colloidal minerals. This is actually the kind that I have. 1 capful per day. You can put it, I put it in a big glass like this. You can also put it in a big bottle and drink it, all day long. But I think 1 to 2 capfuls is fine. And listen, I'm not an expert in this, so do your checking, do fact checking. But these all boost your immunity greatly. There is something called Shilajit that I found online. This is actually the brand. Where did I put it this morning? It's here somewhere on my desk. Shilajit is an entirely natural humic substance that has formed over many years from the remains of plant matter as a result of both biological and geological processes. You can read up on it. I got mine on Amazon. It's a little bit of it that comes with a little metal teaspoon, and you put it in water, and basically with the spoon, I just kind of let it sit in my water. I have to tell you, it tastes a little bit like bark, a little bit like tar, but you take just a little tiny bit, and once a day. This is the brand that I use, the Pure Himalayan, but you can do some research. It's basically incredibly good for you. What I'm sharing with you, it doesn't matter which one you do, if you do all of them, if you do none of them. The idea is that you want a generous dose of superfoods to boost your immunity and that of your family. So it's not like I ran out and got cookbooks. I happen to have Jamie Oliver's Superfood Family Classics on my shelf. So I pulled it out. Hey, what can I make that's good for my family? Instead of depleting their immune system, how can I make delicious foods that feed their immune system? So that's the eating and drinking part. And I also did some research about other ways to boost the immunity of your respiratory system, right? Because this is a respiratory virus. And I just basically did a search, like what are some essential oils for respiratory health? And It's not like I ran out and got them. I looked at what was on the list. And of all of the ones, the 12 that are on the list that I put in your resources sheet, here are the 3 that I already had in my house. So rosemary and geranium and frankincense. So basically all day, in my little diffuser, I just put a little water and a few drops of each of these. And listen, even if it doesn't actually work, the fact that I think it works, I feel like I'm in action about it. So I'm in action with my food, my supplements, what I'm drinking, and the respiratory essential oils. I feel like I'm doing something good for myself, which gives me peace that I'm not out at the control of something else. I'm in control. And I don't know about you, but I'm a control enthusiast. Anybody else? So, what I'm also doing is I went online. A friend of mine who's a singer here in Paris told me about solfeggio. And there are all sorts of solfeggio healing frequencies. And I'm now completely addicted to this stuff. There is one, usually I listen to the 842 or 852, which is about there's a whole bunch, but you can look up just right, do a Google search for solfeggio frequencies. And there is one, the 741 hertz is healing music specifically for the respiratory system. So in your resource sheet, I put this one in there. And basically this can become the soundtrack of your life over the next day, weeks, whatever. It's actually really soothing music. I listen to different frequencies when I'm working, and there's some ones that eliminate negativity. That's the 842, I think, and open up your intuition. And what this does is it gives you options for when we talk about pivoting your mindset. So you can heal yourself on a sound level. Again, not what you probably thought I would be talking about in terms of pivoting your business, but we'll get there. There's also this one, also in your resources sheet, lungs repair and treatment, healing sound therapy. Headphones recommended. I thought this one was pretty cool. And I mean, I swear this could be how I got better in 2 days. I'm not sure, but I did everything. That's the key. I did everything. I also found the Reiki with a special focus on lungs, Reiki for the respiratory system. So I gave you that link as well. And yeah, we've given you the resources sheet in the comments. I believe that this comes from my holistic health counselor days. I believe that when you give your immune system everything that you are in control of doing, it will rally and it will keep you stable. Remember, disease cannot live in an alkaline blood environment. So this is about strengthening your resilience from the inside. Okay. And my belief is that with this course of action, you can avoid the fear. I'll say this one more time. Fear and action cannot coexist. So if you're in fear, just get in action. I also, if you've been working with me for some time, you know that I talk about pray and move your feet, right? The pray is working on the energetic part, your mindset, your faith, staying positive, and the move your feet is taking action. And when you do both of those things simultaneously, there is no fear, there is no panic. What happens is if you avoid the fear and anxiety by taking this course of action, you can then make the shifts necessary for your business, for pivoting your business. So we talked about pivot your facts, pivot your health, and now we're talking about pivot your mindset. We talked about the biological immunity, so boosting your physical immunity, but we're also going to talk about boosting your psychological immunity, because your mental condition dictates how much this can and will affect you. Here's what I mean. There is a lot of emotional volatility happening right now in response to the coronavirus. People are worrying, they're panic buying, they are they're going from they're ping-ponging between I have hope and this is great to just the reptile monkey brain fear. I asked a friend today on WhatsApp, hey, how are you doing? And it was just this ping pong. So it's really important that we look at the boosting your immunity through your mind. And many people are unnecessarily reacting. Some are overreacting. Again, the media is accentuating this because the media sells sensationalism. The reason it does that is because that's how it gets ratings. So if you think about the Gulf War, right? Do you remember in the Gulf War, CNN, that's what put CNN on the map. I don't know about you. I was in college and I stayed glued to the television all day and night long. Wanted to see what happens. Of course, when 9/11, I was living in Manhattan and it was a very uncertain time. We had the television on all the time. And now it's the same thing again. People are glued to it. I just want to remind you how media makes money. They get you riled up, they get you panicked, they get you in fear, which means that you stay glued to the television, which means that they get higher ratings and therefore they can charge more for their advertisers. So it's actually in their best interest to sensationalize. I remember in Paris, what was it, like a year ago, we had some floods in Paris, but all of our friends and family in the US were calling us saying, are you guys okay? Are you going to drown? And yes, the Seine River had gone up to the top, but we were fine. But the American news media just made it out to be this horrific thing that we were all surviving. That was not true at all. So why do we need to focus on this? Because sensationalism puts you in a fight or flight response mode, which runs down your immune system. Okay, so every time you get into panic, it's not good for you. So I will say this, and I mean it, avoid watching TV. Avoid engaging in all what we call in the Fredrickson household, the drama, right? Yes, there are tragic things that are happening. Yes, people are dying. I understand this. I'm not unaware of this. But they're putting fuel into your fire. It is purposefully sensationalist to keep your eyeballs glued to the screen and the advertising rates super high. So I shared this in a video on social media the other day. I want you to imagine that this is pure, clean, loving water, and this is lighter fluid. Just as we talked in the Pivot Your Health section, you want to be having the clear, pure water. This is loving to you. This lighter fluid would not be loving to you, but it's not just what you intake in your body, it's also what you intake with your mindset. This is going to be inflammatory for your mindset. It's going to get you riled up. And I would recommend that you just only feed your mind with things that are really loving to you. So if Facebook puts you in fear and panic, avoid it. If there are people in your life who are negative Nellies, who are, talking about the sky is going to fall, that negative vibration will have negative effects on you. Just limit your conversations with them. Stay positive, because your immune system is strongest when you are living in a state of de-stress, not distress. And this is just look for positive things. Look to laugh. Look to feel better. I mean, honestly, if you're like me, you're probably exchanging some things on chat or WhatsApp with friends, and some of it is like, oh, this is what's happening. But most of the things that I'm receiving are things that are funny, not necessarily about this, things that are creative, things that are spiritual. I'm going to share a couple of them with you. The key, one of the things you can do is just look up on YouTube, Laughter Chain. Fantastic videos to keep you laughing. Some people might see my suggesting this as being insensitive, but I'm actually looking to boost your immune system through your mindset. So when you react negatively to any outside situation, it will run down your immune system and aggravate your potential for health issues. So another great reason to up your mindset. And how do you do that? There is always a blessing in every crisis. I look back to even when my mom died in a fatal car accident. It took me many years to find the blessing in that. This is how I became a spiritual person. Something happened on that day, which I didn't connect the dots until years later, but it started my spiritual journey. Even in this challenge, there are considerable opportunities. There is a silver lining, if not a golden lining, on this right now. So I want you to find out how the situation is actually serving you. Find out how the situation is actually serving you or the greater whole. And make a list of the upsides, not just the downsides. People are talking about all the downsides, but I want you to write a list on paper. And please write that down. I'm going to have a sip of water while you write that down. You don't need to make the list right now, but after we're done with this live, what's positive about this? One of the things we started yesterday or 2 days ago, I have 3 kids, my husband, Derek, and we have 3 kids, in case you don't know us personally. We now say 5 things at each meal about why we're grateful for our cocooning time. I'm not calling it lockdown. I'm not calling it quarantine. This is our huddling time. This is our cocooning time. And they know that it's going to happen at dinner tonight. So they're going to search during the day. Their reticular activating system, RAS, is going to search for what's good about this. And I actually said to my husband the other day, I said, I'm really happy. I did not I have, I go outside once a week for a half an hour to get groceries in and out, antiseptic gel on the hands and wash, and all of that. I know some of you have a backyard that you could go to. I don't have that. I have a little balcony. So we're here, we're into our 3rd cocooning week, and no one else has been outside. But when you can look for 5 things that you're grateful for, each of you in your family, that's, for us, it's 25 reasons per meal. And that really helps us with our mindset. So I heard someone say recently that fear is an assumption that manifests through your senses or your imagination. And it believes that fear has you think that there will be more disadvantages and drawbacks than benefits and advantages in the near or the far future. So we're going to focus, human nature says that we focus on the disadvantages rather than the benefits. And this is not necessarily true. So for most people, the worst case scenario is likely that we may have a temporary setback, but you will rebuild. You always do. I just want you to write that down. This can be a temporary setback, and feel free to if you like what I'm saying, put something in the comments. I would love some hearts. I would love some comments, or even if you like something that I've said, put it in the comments. You will rebuild, and you will eventually look at this as a blip in the timeline of this year. Granted, a tragic one for some, but the likelihood is nothing's going to happen to you. So let's not act as if it's going to happen to you. We're going to look for the benefits here. So for some people, it will be a setback, albeit temporary. And for others, the benefits will come flooding in from the creativity and the innovation that are being forced at this time. New connections, deepening connections, new relationships, new priorities, new streamlining, new cutting off the fat, all of this will pay off. I'm sharing this with you because it's really easy. I know people who are seeing this as just a major disruption in their life. And yes, it is. But we're going to search for the meaning in all of this, right? So once you see the benefits, once you see that the benefits are equaling the drawbacks, there are no fears. So we've got to look for the benefits and ask yourself, write this down, please. What is the meaning of all of this? What is the meaning in my life? What is the purpose of all of this in my life? What is the purpose of all of this in our society? How can we as a society use this situation to our advantage? Originally published in 1946, Man's Search for Meaning details the harrowing experiences of author and psychologist Viktor Frankl during his internment in the Auschwitz concentration camp during the Second World War. Seriously, what is more devastating than that? Hard to beat. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, offers insights into how human beings can survive unsurvivable, inimaginable situations by coming to terms with trauma and ultimately finding meaning. So what Viktor Frankl witnessed is that those who found meaning in this horrifying situation are the people who survived. I find that fascinating. In any situation that is anxiety producing, it's the people that go into emotional reactions, who run down their immune system, who get into volatility, who accentuate and exaggerate things, that end up running themselves down and becoming sick. And so this is about looking, and I gave a link to Blinkist. I didn't read this book. I read the summary of it on Blinkist. I gave you the link. What he shared is our success is dependent upon our ability to find the meaning within any particular situation. And this is what happened to me with this virus. Very, very quickly, I pivoted and I started looking for what's good about this. It doesn't have to be something that's existential. It could just be something that's meaningful to you based on your immediate circumstances. I found many positive things in this, and I want you to write this down. If this is the most important thing that you can write down, please do so now. How can I make this obstacle the greatest thing that ever happened to me? This is what a friend sent to me on WhatsApp probably a week ago. How can I make this obstacle the greatest thing that ever happened to me? You can even take a screenshot of it right now. Not like small benefits. What if this were the pivot of your life? What if because of this, you got creative and you innovated? There are new ways of looking at life. This could be one of the greatest things that has happened to climate change in the last 50 to 100 years. This could be where people actually got closer despite the social distancing. Lots and lots of, this could be a way that you pivot your business, pivot your marketing, pivot what you offer in the world, how you make money, how you monetize your reason for being. So this situation is forcing us to either fold up, and many people are because they're getting scared. I love this one client of mine, but when I first saw her a week and a half ago, and she said, "I am doomed." I said, "You're not doomed. You just got to get creative. You got to innovate something here, even if your business is one-to-one in people's homes." I'll get more on that in a few minutes, but I want you to see this, please, my sweet friends, as a divine redirection. Write this down for yourself. A divine redirection. What if This was all orchestrated by God, Goddess, the all that is, the universe. You've probably seen the meme that says Mother Nature with this virus sent us all to our rooms to think long and hard about what we've been doing to her, right? What if this is a divine redirection for your business, for your family, for, honestly, I haven't seen one of my children so happy. I told him that at dinner yesterday. Sometimes it's good to work from home, to homeschool. Sometimes it's good for all of us to spend time together instead of everybody going in their frenetic ways. Look for the divine redirection in this. I'm not sure if you saw, but on Instagram and Facebook, posted a video probably about a week and a half ago. And my son, Oliver, read this. This was one of the things that really helped me look for the good in this. And I hope that it brings you some reassurance. This is by Jeff Vanderkloot, who put this online on March 8th. And there are some people, so I don't know if you believe in this, but of course I do. I wouldn't have included it. There's some people who can channel guides, angels, and also entities such as a virus, and get knowledge from it. And I know this might seem woo-woo to some of you, and it might be supremely reassuring for those of you who are already open to these ideas. And basically, the virus said, I am here to do some good work. The gifts of the virus are slowing down humanity's frenetic activities, activating networks of cooperation. You've already seen it. Slowing down humanity's frenetic activities. I find that I'm on a plane like every other week. I don't know the last time that I've not been going someplace for 3 weeks, if ever. Look at what it's done to the climate. We'll talk about that in a moment. The gifts of the virus are spreading helpful DNA, upgrading humanity's immune system, creating the conditions for peace and well-being. People going back to what's to the simpler things. Saving lives, especially over the long term. I've included this message from the coronavirus in your resource sheet in case it serves you. Look in the good in this globally. The sky is clear over Wuhan, China. If you look at your screen, these are images from NASA in January and February. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you have pollution pictures over Wuhan, China from January 1 to the 20th. A month later, from February 10th to the 25th, there is almost no pollution over Wuhan, China. 75% of the flights were reduced. People were quarantined and therefore did not drive, did not go to work. And look, the sky is clear. People are sharing that they can hear birds singing where they hadn't heard birds singing. Others are saying that the water in Venice, you can see all the way through it. I haven't been to Venice in the last couple of weeks, but it's just really interesting, right? On my street, there are barely any cars. If people are going anywhere to the store, they're using a bicycle. So look for what's good in the world, but also for your business, for your life, for your family, for your opportunities. It's about finding the positive focus. And again, if you're a member of Boldheart Business or Boldheart Life, you know that I believe in positive focus. Practicing gratitude is a way to stop the spiral of negativity. And when you're in a place of negativity, you're not going to be open to new ideas. I have a friend who's dealing with a lot of stuff right now, even before this coronavirus and the mandatory cocooning. And when in that place of fear, she was not open to any of the ideas in the beginning that I shared with her. It was like, no, I tried that. No, I'm doing that. No, that didn't work. And I was like, wow, not open at all. So we started getting in a place of gratitude, and then she could allow in some of the new ideas. One of the things I recommend is tapping, or it's called also EFT. You can actively, if you're in a place of panic and anxiety and fear, you can take control and tap. I like Brad Yates. They're members of Boldheart Business. If you're in the Boldheart Business community, you can go into our Facebook group or even this Facebook group and just ask, who can help me with my anxiety? But I've given you a link to this EFT tapping script that you can do along with Brad Yates that has to do with the coronavirus and dealing with the outbreak of fear. That will be really helpful. I want you to listen to non-sensationalist sources of reassurance. For me, Dr. DeMartini, I've also given you a link to this, really helped me put things into perspective. And I've woven some of the things that I've gotten from him in this presentation. You can raise your personal vibration and stay in the vortex of positive energy. I listen to Abraham Hicks on YouTube all the time. I mean, even before all of this, as I'm putting on my makeup, usually I'm putting on my makeup at my desk. I'm listening to that, but you can also use the 22 Abraham Hicks processes from Ask and It Is Given, the back of the book. I've put a link to those in your resources sheet just to help you play some games to raise your personal vibration. These are all useful things to keep your mindset. Here's another solfeggio. This is the one about cleansing your mind of negativity. Allow this to be the playlist of your life and your family's life right now. You know, you can play it in the background. When I'm doing classes online now on Zoom, when it's time for my clients to journal, I play the solfeggio 852, which is about removing, here, I'll read it. It's letting go of destructive negative energy, negative patterns, fear, and overthinking. It's about awakening and connecting with your inner guidance and inner intuitive powers. This can, I listen to it in my headphones when I'm working all day long. And Derek, when he's working all day long, I can hear his solfeggio going. But you can also play it for your family. You can play it for while you sleep. Hope that helps. Stay in faith. So I have a book. It's not really in print anymore, but I have a copy of it like this. It's called God Works Through Faith. And it's by Robert A. Russell. This is the kind of book where you don't even really need to underline anything because you're going to underline basically everything. Look at this. Everything is underlined in this book. So I got to a point where I just stopped underlining. You can't really buy this book. I have not been able to find it. But what I did find for you is a video on YouTube of the first part of God Works Through Faith. So those who have already heard this class said that it's on your resource sheet has been very, very useful. So that's for you. Stay in faith. I want you to know that the higher your personal vibration, the more you are in faith, the more good things can happen to you. Did I do something wrong?
No.
Okay.
This is not loading for you, is it?
No, it's not loading.
Yeah. Okay.
Should I keep going?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just fixing it.
Okay. Thank you. In my own business, so stay in faith, right? It's also about helping the people in your life to stay in faith. So in the first few days of the virus in my own business, a small handful of people who had been watching the news incessantly asked to cancel their program, even though my programs are not canceled. And maybe this is happening to you too. Thank you. Before you overreact, stop and wait is what I said to them. Because in the next week, 2 weeks, 30 days or so, things can change. I've found on Saturday, I'll tell you this, my role over the last 2.5 weeks has been to share this information and to keep people's spirits up. It's really easy for people to panic. We're going to talk about pivoting your resources in just a moment. But I've been on Saturday, just a few days ago, I just went into a Facebook group and just answered questions for 2.5 hours on a Saturday. Like those of you who know me know I don't work on evenings and weekends. I'm just giving extra time, creating this class, for example, for you. There's nothing for me to sell here, literally just giving and just help people realize that they don't have to be panicked. Everything could turn around in just 2 weeks. Things will spring back. And in the meantime, new things will have emerged like little shoots of grass through the sidewalk. Things you didn't expect. For example, I led my first, so I do, if you don't know me, I am a business coach. I have probably in all of my programs about 600 to 700 members of launch, growth, or leverage, right? And I lead quarterly meetings in person for the leverage track, 2-day meetings in the US. I just led those 3 weeks ago for a full week with 100 of those members. And I was going to do it here in Paris because we also have a group here in Europe and the UK. And I had to pivot everything to go online. And what is absolutely incredible, and I'll share with you my conscious engagement online methodology in this presentation. I never would have expected ever. I was intending on wowing them, but I never would have expected that they actually liked the Zoom meeting, even though we were in our seats for more than 9 hours a day. We were so engaged and so connected that they liked. The majority of them said, listen, I love Paris. I love your hugs, Fabienne. I love being with you guys in person, but this was actually better. I would never have imagined that. So I just want to remind you and keep reminding the people in your life that it's not like people have stopped living. People have simply changed the way that they are living. And so people haven't stopped doing business. They are still doing business. They're still buying things. I've heard that Amazon just brought on another 100,000 employees because of the surge of business that Amazon is getting. People are still doing business. There's still money circulating. They've just changed the way that they do business. I'll talk more about that when we talk about pivot your business model. So that leads us to number 4, pivot your resources. Cash flow is on a lot of people's minds, as is toilet paper. We have plenty of toilet paper in our store, but I hear that, for example, in Florida, there's no toilet paper to be had in all of the state. Although in the UK, I thought this was very cute. I saw a meme of a store window where it's a liquor store window that said free toilet paper roll for the sale of every case of Corona beer. So I thought that was very clever. But cash flow is on a lot of people's minds, especially if they're in their reptile monkey brain of thinking this is doomsday. So the last thing you want to do about your resources are your financials are to panic. Instead, I want you to look for the opportunities from a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity and doom. So this will lead to pivot your marketing and pivot your business model in a few minutes. But the majority of us will be more than okay for a few months. This might not last for more than a few weeks. Even if managing cash flow can get a little tight, you will be fine. So yesterday I had a long session with one of our clients who had, we had scheduled a half day private session. And I'm not going to reveal her name. It's none of anybody's business, but she has had a rule that she pays off all her credit cards in full every month. And she started panicking. And I said, just for the next month or so, you can just pay the minimum balance. Oh, yeah, just pay the minimum balance. Here are some things that you can do until we come out on the other side, when this fog lifts, okay? Don't freak out about money. There are many ways. I'll share some here, and then you'll have other ideas on your own, and you can brainstorm together. So find the hidden money in your business. This is about, now I'm seeing all of your, comment. Find the hidden money in your business. This is about sitting down and making a low-hanging fruit list. Who are the people who have expressed interest in working with you, but aren't working with you right now? And you might think, oh my God, now is not the time. They don't have the money. Well, actually, they might need you now more than ever. There are people who are signing up to work with me now at my lowest level, or coming to my mindset retreat that has also been the one that was happening in London in May, has pivoted, and we're doing it on Zoom, right? There are people who are signing up now. And it's just about finding the money and sitting down and doing a low-hanging fruit list, or perhaps creating a new low-priced program, right? We'll talk about that. But there is money if you look for it, because there are some people who may have nothing and who are in real dire straits, but there are other people who have plenty because they've had cash reserves for months, right? If you're in the growth or leverage programs of mine, you know about the 50 ways list. Dust that list off and make a list of 50 ways that you can make money right now. If you've been to my mindset retreat, you know about this list. If you're new to me and you don't know, it's just basically about writing all the different ways that you can make money in your business or in your life right now. And you might have to get creative. It might be that you give cooking classes online. I just attended this Daybreaker dance party on Zoom with 3,000 people. And we paid $15 to attend. And you know what? It was fantastic. The energy was through the roof. And I usually go to this Daybreaker thing once a month in the morning, dancing from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. But they looked for different ways to find the money. And so I don't know, you do the math, 3,000 times $15, that was a good payday for them. You can find the money if you look for it. Examine new opportunities that you might not have taken seriously in the past. Write this down. In the past, you might have said like, oh no, that won't work. They won't pay for that. Or, I need to charge more than that. But now might be a good time to pivot your resources and offer things that you haven't offered in the past, to break your own rules, right? You can call your bank and get a small business bank loan. I don't know. Let's see. And sometimes people will say, this won't happen. But how do you know if you haven't called? One client of ours said, I actually have a 0% credit card. I can move my balances to that. If you have good ratings, just go online and find out. I'm obviously not a financial planner. I'm not telling you what to do. But what I've noticed is people freak out about cash and they start pulling out of things, and they don't have to. So you could go on Google, or here I went to just creditcards.com, and you can sign up for a 0% APR card. You can do some balance transfers. There are opportunities out there. You can Google 0% APR credit card offers just for the short term. You can look at an equity line of credit. Is it going to work? I don't know. But what this is you being in action. You got fear or you got action. I'd rather be in action, even if I don't know the outcome. You see what I'm saying? I want you to nod, even though you're probably just at home by yourself, right? This is about being resourceful. Resourceful is looking for opportunities everywhere. If you're worried about money, there is money, right? You can cut certain expenses. And you probably have already, just by virtue, if you've been cocooning, or on, what do they call it, social distancing and isolation, you probably have already cut expenses. I'm sure we have cut expenses dramatically. Well, even my kids' school, 2-week school vacation, we were going to have a house in the Loire Valley for a week and a house in Provence for a week. Well, we're not spending that money right now just because we can't leave our home. So we were able to be refunded for that. Cut certain expenses, but be careful here. I really want you to listen to this. Only cut expenses that depreciate. Don't cut expenses that expand. And here's what I mean. There's nice versus necessary. So that TV is nice, but it can wait. The minute you take hold of that new TV, the value will depreciate. This is what I've been sharing with everybody. Getting expert business training, because this is Pivot Your Business, so I assume that you have a business. Getting expert business training is crucial, right? And it's necessary more than ever. This is where I've said to people, invest now in business courses. And I am not here to sell anything. Like, invest now in business courses, in coaching, in training, in marketing help, in admin help. Maybe even if they're not mine. This is the time to put the resources that you do have in growing your business. Don't cut the things that you invest in that will make you money. I think I may have shared this. I've invested in 2 new programs in the last the last 2 weeks or so. Online programs to sharpen the saw, to make myself more, better, more useful, more valuable to you. So do not pull back on the things that will show you how to make money. Focus on investing in things that appreciate versus depreciating. Pulling back on things that make you money is the worst thing that you could possibly do in times like these. Instead, use your time now to double down on marketing training. Double down on anything that you can do, because as we will share in the next 3 activators, the next 3 pivots rather, you've got more time now than you may have other things. So I want to mention this. I heard somebody say, but my mortgage, my rent, my house, the roof over my head. I have not done this research, but I will put money on this, that banks will likely not foreclose right now, because everybody's in the same situation. Right? So I see this is where people often go from their reptile brain. They go into the roof over my head, I will become homeless. I mean, if that's really the case, here's what I'm here to say instead. Worst comes to worst, you can call the bank and make arrangements. You can say, can you help me figure out some payments so that I can ride the storm the next 2 to 3 weeks, right? They will likely do that for you if you are in communication with the banks, right? About your mortgage, about your rent. Be in communication. Be resourceful. You can pick up the phone and call. There's this doom thing that happens, but it's likely if you reach out to the banks, everything will be fine. There are ways around this if you get resourceful. There are ways around this. which leads us to pivot your time. Okay, have a sip of water. I'd love to hear what's good about this. You're probably taking lots of notes. Okay. So, okay, good. There's some comments in here. Perfect. Okay, let's talk about pivoting your time. How are we doing on time, by the way? Okay, good. This is a great time to work on your business. I meet a lot of business owners who say, I don't have time to work on my business. I'm so in my business. Well, this is a great time to work on your business. I'm here to share with you a huge piece of advice. Use your time now to plant the seeds so that they are ready to harvest when the fog lifts. Use your time strategically now while you've got more time. You're at home. You're probably not able to do, as I found that I have more work to do now because I'm giving all this extra time and doing these presentations again and again just to really be of service to people, to really be valuable in times without requiring anything back. I know that there's the law of circulation. Where I give in one place, it will come back in another. And anyway, it's the good neighborly thing to do, right? If you are in a situation where your business is or could be affected by what's going on, then strategize how to use your newfound time. See it as a blessing. We're all saying we don't have enough time. Well, now you do. And so this is an invitation. If nothing else, this may be the time to find out how it's serving you and what you could do with your time. Focus on the most important activities that you can work on now that will have the biggest impact in the next few weeks and months. So I'll give you an example. There is, and we'll talk about this probably again when we talk about pivot your business model, but travel professionals right now, they're not leading groups. And one of our members who does really, really well, I just shared with her like, okay, yeah, so trips are canceled. But what you can do is create epic trips now. You create them now and you reveal them. You'll have everything mapped out and everything negotiated and all the itineraries done so that by the time this fog lifts, people are going to want to burst out of their homes and travel, and you will have everything laid out. You can, if you're a travel professional, you can start having people you can use your time on social media to get people to talk about their bucket list of places to go. There's a lot of things that you can do with your time. We'll talk about that when we talk about pivot your marketing. I keep addressing that. But for some people, using your time differently will mean meditating and going within to find another path forward. I've had several people in the last few days in the Q&As for our clients, in the general Q&As, when I taught this Pivot Your Business last, people were saying, Fabienne, I feel like I'm almost asking you permission to not have to pivot and work. I feel like I finally have some time. I'm here in the house with my child that I don't spend that much time with. I feel like I need to journal and really just sit and meditate. Yes, you have my permission. For some of you, it's going to be about getting into your secret garden, your man cave, and just being quiet to hear the divine guidance or just to rest, my friend. Use your time to rest. Shore up your energy now. And for others, it's time to hunker down and implement. It's time to work on that big project. It's time to plant the seeds that are going to be harvested later. We have this time now. We might as well use it. There are people in my programs, in the Growth and Leverage program, that are going to town right now on implementing the things that they don't usually have a lot of time for. So if you're in my programs already, you know that you get in the member center, it's free. You get the 90-day cash infusion. Go to town on the 90-day cash infusion. Implement all things from the 5 videos, because the seeds that you're planting now, there's some people in this program, I'll remind you, who in 90 days made $90,000, in 90 days made $80,000. Okay, so maybe you're not in my programs. What programs are on your shelf? Go implement those. If you're in my Boldly Close the Sale program, like, go through those videos, go through your growth track modules, go through your leverage track activators, work on that book, that lead generating book, work on that operations manual, work on creating that new program. You can even begin looking to hire people now. Now, you're obviously not necessarily going to hire them now, but you can work on the job description. This is what I taught a week ago. When I taught leverage your team. You're not going to necessarily go get your team now, but I'll tell you what's free. You can write the job description now. You can post it online. You can have interviews with people. People have a lot of time to talk to you right now. And people might be really good people, might be out of a job right now. So you do all the pre-work right now. And by the time that this lifts, bam, 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 you can implement very, very quickly. I will give this as a resource. If you are not getting some affordable coaching right now, go check out boldheartlaunch.com. This is a good time to work on your marketing. It's really affordable. It's $97. Go see. It's on your list of resources too. Look for affordable ways to double down on your marketing, so that you start making money now. So you start working on your marketing now. Write that lead generating book. You say you want to write that book. Now is your time to write that book. Work on that big project now. Work on the exponential exponential growth activities now for your business. Create money generating activities so that everything is ready to go in the next few weeks. Even if you only roll them out in the next few weeks. There are people that I know in our programs who are getting together on Zoom and are for 4.5 hours a day working on my lessons. They're like, well, I can't leave the house. I usually work with people in person. They're pivoting online. We'll talk about that. I'll show you a bit how to do this, but they've just decided, like, this is not the time to nap. This is not the time to take your foot off the gas. At Boldheart, we're adding stuff. We're adding additional 4-hour implementation parties so that you can work on your big projects even more than ever. I'm adding 2.5-hour Q&As. Every weekend, like I shared. If you're in our programs and you have a Boldheart accountability buddy, get together and map out your next 90 days and keep talking daily. Yeah, I've said these people are getting together and doing 3 or 4 hours of marketing prep from the lesson each day. I've received some notes saying that they've got contracts of $30,000-$40,000 from corporations that absolutely need their help, but they just can't do it the same before. All this work will do 2 things. It'll keep you out of fear because you're going to be in action. And 2, it will get you thinking and setting up things that even if you can't make money in the next 2 weeks, right? And there's always a way. We're going to talk about that. You will be set up in the next few weeks. On a personal level, you can do something that fills your mind. Don't watch the news, right? Some of the things that we're doing. So Derek, my husband, really likes working out. We have a gym, but obviously the gym is closed. So he bought a subscription. I think it's $2.99 a week for a workout app. And he and the boys, we bought some yoga mats on Amazon. They got delivered a few days ago. And on the weekends, they are working out on this app for $2.99 a week. Use things that fuel your mind. Derek also got us as a family a subscription to masterclass.com. And we're all learning new skills. So I'm learning from Gordon Ramsay. I love to cook. I'm learning from Gordon Ramsay. We've been watching Alice Waters, and I personally adore Diane von Furstenberg. And so I've been watching her masterclass. She's like a mentor to me, and she doesn't even know it, right? My son, Oliver, he's 10, but he's super into chess. He's watching the masterclass. My son, Luke, creates music. He has been watching the Timberland masterclass, and I don't know if it's Martin Garrix or some other EDM, electronic dance music masterclasses. This is here at 16 euros a month. Fill your mind on the weekends and evenings instead of watching TV. Learn new skills that will help your business later. There's that. Yeah, you have been, Kelly, to the Mindset Retreat 3 times. It's virtual this year, so you can join us. 6, pivot your marketing. How are we doing? Are we liking this? Can you give me some thumbs up or tell me what you like about what we've done so far while I drink some water? Put it in the comments, okay? I would love to hear. Yay, thank you for the little hearts. Pivot your marketing. After winter comes spring. We plant the marketing seeds now, and then we harvest them once they grow. So this is the time to shift and pivot your marketing message to be even more relevant now, so that when all of this blows over, you're strategically positioned to do really well. So this is about giving people what they need now and in the near future. So to tell you the truth, my company was supposed to be promoting my new program called Boldheart Life, which is a personal growth and development program helping women, mostly women, with their self-worth. We are going to launch this to the whole world with the new Fabienne.com brand. We're not doing that right now. That's not relevant. People are not thinking right now about their self-worth. They're thinking about pivoting their businesses. So we put a pause button on that. And everything that I've shared on social media is either to bring value, like sharing the coronavirus or channeled message, or sharing what we're doing in terms of what are you feeding yourself, water or lighter fluid, just some really inspirational things. And also some just, if you look in the last few days, I've shared some recipes from my kitchen. I'm at my stove making food, a shrimp sauce, for example, from scratch, or a vegetable soup for your immunity. I'm just looking to add value. I think this is a time you do not want to ambulance chase. There are people right now who are being really ugly and being really opportunistic. Listen, you can let people know that you exist and that your programs are there. I did a half day virtual tour stop, if you will, because we had to pivot online. And I let people know that here's my mindset intensive. You're going to get huge content over the next 3 hours, but I just want you to know that I am selling tickets to the mindset retreat. I was going to cancel this half day thing, but women wrote in and said, are you still doing the mindset retreat? Are you pivoting online? Because if you are, I do want to buy a ticket. And so we chose not to cancel it, but I said, hey guys, I just want you to know the whole intent of these half day events all over the UK was to, invite you lovingly to register for a ticket for the mindset retreat. And they were fine. Be careful not to be opportunistic, be transparent. But you may have to pivot your marketing message, right? So you may change your marketing message to be about being valuable, really valuable. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this a lot in his book. Jab, jab, jab. I don't know how many jabs are in the title of the book, but it's jab, 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 right hook, right? Just be valuable in every communication. So I hope that this is valuable for you. If so, you'll put it in the chat or you'll send me some hearts. But be relevant, but also pivot your marketing in the sense of maybe this is the time to work on your marketing funnels and sequences. Maybe this is the time to amp up your marketing and make yourself really visible online, right? You've likely been hiding. This is what we talked about in terms of mindset. There are a lot of people who aren't creating the impact and the influence and the income that they should. And a lot of them admitted is because they're hiding behind their computer. This is a time to be visible. Listen, you're at home, most likely. You can do a Facebook Live a day. You can do an IG, Instagram, I don't even know how to say IGTV. I just do the video and my team helps me. But like you can do something on Facebook every day that's valuable, but just become more visible. You can just put a ton of content on LinkedIn right now. It's just about pivoting your marketing. You can use Zoom for video marketing. I've included in your resources sheet a video, 5-minute video you can find on YouTube about how to use Zoom for video marketing. This is a great time to learn how to do that. I've also included a link for how to use Facebook Live video for marketing your business. Great time to, oops, my dad's calling me. I have to decline. Sorry, Dad, doing a Facebook Live. So there's a link for this article. Learn to do lives. Be more prolific. Pivot your marketing. I'm often doing Q&As now on this live. Just come and ask me questions. I'm here to guide you and to set you up properly, even if it's free right now. Because I'll tell you, you do this now, you be super valuable to people now. They will remember you in weeks, months, or years to come. They'll remember that you showed up with all of these resources and you didn't sell and you just made yourself available for Q&As, for value. People remember that. This is not about, there's some really icky people right now doing icky things. It doesn't mean that you can't offer and that you can't make an invitation like I did for the mindset retreat tickets. A lot of people bought mindset retreat tickets because 1, it's very affordable. 2, I stacked it. And 3, they need it right now. But it's not what you do. Selling is okay. It's how you do it. If you've known me for a long time, you know I always say it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Do it with integrity. Pivot your marketing so that it's integrous, it's loving, it's authentic, it's valuable. People will tune out, especially in these times when marketing is valuable, they'll consume it. And if it's sleazy and it's not relevant, they'll turn off. So see what you can add, right? Focus every possible minute on setting up the right marketing now. Just pivot how you do it. The key that I want you to get is that your people still need you. They need you maybe now more than ever. And this is not the time to go dormant. Right? Number 7, we're in the home stretch. This is about pivoting your business model. So many people are thinking in terms of, no, I can't do business in this climate. I would love for you to remove that way of speaking and thinking from your vocabulary. It's not, I can't do business in this climate. It's, how can I do business in this climate? I really want you to think about that. This is not the time to cancel anything from a place of panic. One of my clients in the UK, one of our members, of the leverage track was saying that a lot of people are canceling events, half-day events, and not moving them online. And I said, why aren't they just moving them to Zoom or GoToMeeting or something like that? And she said, they just don't think that somebody can spend 3 hours looking at Zoom. I said, oh no, that's all about conscious engagement online, which we'll get to in a bit. But this is about looking at how you can deliver what you do differently. Become resourceful again here. And so what we've done is we've just moved online using Zoom. Zoom is the most, and I put the link zoom.us in your resources sheet. I'm sure you've been on the Zoom all week, the way that I have some friends who are taking an isolation from Zoom because they spend, 12 hours a day on Zoom. I'm probably one of those people too. We were already mostly on Zoom except for the live meetings. And now, as I've shared with you, we've pivoted completely. Even this 3-day mindset retreat is going to be entirely on Zoom. And I want to share this with you. We have completely deconstructed and dissected how we do meetings in person, right down to the dance party, the cocktail party, paired shares, worksheets, sharing up at the mic, asking questions, the inspiration panel, everything. We've dissected it and deconstructed it, and we're just moving the different elements of it online. So I'll give you an example. The meeting that I held a week ago, the full 2-day meeting with my leverage clients, the 28 of them, when we're together in person, at the end of our first day, I always have a reception, a wine and an hors d'oeuvre reception. Well, I had let them know ahead of time that they could, at the end of our day, we would stay on, we would leave our videos on, we would quickly go get whatever our choice beverage would be. And some people came with tea, and some people came with wine, and some people came with champagne. And we had an hour and 15-minute happy hour together. And it was so much fun. We had a dance session once each day. We had breakouts. They had lunch together, the way they would when we did our meetings. And so you can deconstruct things and move them online. Make it as close to the in real life experience as you can. And there are ways to do that. I'll share them with you in a moment. I wouldn't call it a handbook, but my methodology for conscious engagement online has been working like crazy. It's about creating intimacy. If you can foster intimacy online, what you're doing is, and we've been innovating this for quite some time in the last few months, especially in the last few years, but I've been preparing my clients, not knowing that this virus had come up, preparing my clients for more connection online, conscious connection online. So when you use certain tools for conscious connection, you're fostering the biochemical called oxytocin. And oxytocin is the love and bonding hormone. And we women especially we exude a lot of oxytocin because we like to be in community. So you can create close-knit online communities the way that I have. I'm really good at creating communities offline, meaning in person, to the point where people first come to me for the strategy and the coaching and the direction and all my content and my frameworks and like this vast amount of easy to implement knowledge. And then once they're in there, they're like, oh, and you have this amazing community too, where everybody's loving, extra generous. Where they realize that a rising tide lifts all boats, where these people are my best friends, the people I've been looking for my whole life. Yes. And this is why they stay sometimes 3, 4, 6 years. This is you can create that online. I'll give you some tips right now. If you move closer to the camera on your Zoom, you'll see, even in your videos, if you watch my Saturday videos, you'll see that I frame myself so much more. See how I'm closer to the camera? It feels much more intimate. I just saw somebody do a Zoom presentation, and you could see her cabinets and you could see like half of her office, but there was no intimacy. So you can lean into the computer a little bit more. You can, I'm a very loving person. So I'm always sending hearts like this online, high fives. We have a community where we give each other golf claps and thumbs up, and I blow kisses at these people that I know very well. There are things that you can do, like, for example, looking at the camera, like I'm looking at the green dot on my laptop. These are things that you can do to further the intimacy online, whereby when you do that, people feel that you're talking directly to them. You become high touch in a high tech world, even though you're behind your computer and I'm behind mine. People feel like they're part of something greater than themselves. So that's my methodology for conscious engagement online. Part of conscious engagement is having people take personal responsibility for showing up fully and engaging like never before. So leaning in, literally and figuratively, inviting the creation of sacred space by modeling it. And this is where I've asked people when I do these things online, your video should be on 100% of the time. If you can't have your video on and you can't be here all the time, then it's really important that you watch the replay. Because if I press the button and you go into a breakout room and there's a person, you're not going in there, there's a person by herself there. So it's about sharing with people some of your protocols for engaging online and inviting everybody to take personal responsibility. And when I did this with our members last week, I mean, there were some wet eyes at the end of even the first day, let alone the second day, because everybody took personal responsibility, and it was such a deep connection. So when we said earlier, we said, how could this be actually the greatest thing that's ever happened to you in your business? I just want you to look at this. I'll give you an example. One of our members is a therapist, and she wanted to transition to be a coach. And she's done all of her sessions for 20, 30 years in person in her office. And I said, time to move to Zoom, time to move online. And she did that. But I said, do you realize now that you're no longer just geographically confined in your client base? You can expand nationally. You can expand across the state, across your country, across the globe. And the things that a woman I coached the other day, she has a store for two women I coached the other day. One has a clothing storefront, clothing boutique, and one of them has a skincare boutique. Now, obviously, she's not able to put her hands on people now, but she has products. And so I said, do a QVC type thing. And every day you're going to say, let me tell you about this product, and and make it fun and try it on and all of that. There are many ways that you can pivot. And actually, this could be one of the greatest things. The mindset retreat was supposed to be just in London and just for UK, Europe. But now there are people who are buying tickets. A woman bought a ticket. She's in Hong Kong. A woman in Australia. I did not expect that. But they're like, I want to go. I want to go to mindset. And so they, it's opening up geographically. It's really interesting. Moving my programs online, even the remaining bits, I'm not sure I'm doing this permanently, but even just the bits that have been in person makes it, I mean, think about it. coming to a live meeting 4 times a year is at least $1,000, 1,000 euros, 1,000 pounds per meeting. People are saving now $4,000 pounds or euros. They're saving money, right? This could have you expand. Some ideas. You can train the trainer. You can show others online how to run their business the way you do. If you are an events, how do you say that? An events programmer. How do you say that? Like a meeting planner or something. You can teach, and you can't do meetings. You can teach people, other event planners in your industry, how to run your business with your systems. You can sell your systems to other people. That's what we would call train the trainer. The key is that you can find another way to monetize how to work with clients. It's just about getting creative. So I'm looking at my phone because I wanted to share something with you. With every change, a new niche can show up. Someone needs help within a new niche. And this is about looking at what you can do with your scope of knowledge now. Do what you can to serve people and to generate an income in a different way. Not, I can't do business in this climate. How can I do business in this climate? Even if you can't do the thing, and I'm sure that you can do the thing, right? You can do tutorials on how to give a facial and just sell those. There's lots of things that you can do. One of the things I'd like to share with you is the Japanese concept of ikigai, reason for being. I use this with our members, especially I did it with our Boldheart launch members, that $97 program, where I said, listen, you can monetize what you love to do, what you're good at, and what the world needs. And I've given you the 4 questions of ikigai. If you are stuck, we did this with our event planners. We have an amazing planning team in London. And I said, oh my gosh, you're not running events right now. Let's have you answer these 4 questions. What do you love to do? What are you exceptional at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid for? And we can create different offerings. So they're working on the 4 questions. I've put them in your resource sheet. This can help you monetize in a different way. We're just looking for different ways. This is about being resourceful. And when I started working with all of our clients individually about how they could pivot their business model based on this reason for being, these 4 questions, there was so much relief, so much hope, so much optimism. And I want that for you too. So there will always be other ways to monetize what you do and what you know. Maybe you're in the travel business, but you're really good at systems. Maybe you can start selling systems to self-employed people who aren't good at it. There are so many different ways of doing things. You can reach out with clients and help them plan their events or experiences from 6 months down the line. There are a lot of weddings that are being canceled right now. Just reach out to people, start marketing online and saying, I can help you now. You don't have to pay me now, but I can help you now, or just put a deposit and we'll map out your wedding for 6 months from now. Teach people how to do it yourself, what you do online, and create a program. This is, like I said, this is about pivoting. About Zoom.us and Skype. If you're in the Boldheart program, I'm not sure if you know, but Derek last week did a how to go virtual and online special class just for you. It's like Tech 101. It's everything we do, from the lighting, from the microphones that we use, from all the different apps, how to use Zoom breakout rooms, like all of it. He did that. If you're in our programs, go to that. It's in your member center. the key that I'm here to share with you is that there is a different way, maybe even a better way to monetize your business. And it's about being open to the possibilities. What I know is that if you break the rules that you currently have in place, the opportunity that is trying to show itself will show up. I hear too many people say, but that's not the way it's done. We can't do that in my industry. Well, maybe that's not the way it used to be. But I just want you to think, the more you can pivot online, the more you are saving hard costs. I told this woman the woman with the clothing store, I said, bring all of your merchandise home and set up a QVC at home and do 2 or 3 Facebook Lives a day and say, this, let me tell you about this blouse. So this blouse looks really great when you do it like this and you tuck it like that. And you can put this scarf and you can, all of that. I'm making it up. I've never, had a retail store, but QVC and the Home Shopping Network make gajillions a year selling clothing and perfume and gadgets and cosmetic products online. Just take a page from their book. Maybe this is just the opportunity that has been waiting to come into your existence. I was really surprised. I guess I'm bringing up the mindset retreat again, because I was really surprised how many more people were asking to sign up now that it was no longer in London in 3 days at the Millennium Hotel. Now that it was going to be online, people are thrilled. We did not anticipate that. I actually for a while worried that people would back out of coming to mindset, and it's been quite the opposite. What I'm here to share with you is that disruption can be good. Disruption creates a context for new innovation and creativity. Let me say that in more everyday words. What's going on with the virus right now is the fertile soil for you to get creative and innovate something that you've either never done before but other people are doing, or it's an opportunity for you to just get creative and just pivot and try. And we have a saying in Boldheart, it's that we're not looking to do things perfectly. We're looking to do things with imperfect action, because perfection paralysis will have you delay the actual launch of whatever it is that you're launching. And so I'd rather you take imperfect action over no action any day of the week. You see? So use this time as a way to reset your business model so that we are positioned well for growth later. You may have the solution, and gosh, I would love it if there was some people putting in like the ahas that they're getting, their insights in the chat. But you can use this as a way to position yourself for growth later. What if you moved online? What if you, instead of doing, now you're selling? Instead of doing facials, you're selling product. Maybe you go from being a therapist to a coach. There's so many things that you can do. Just like even that dance party, that Daybreaker dance party I told you about. Just all the venues that all over the world that they're paying for. Now I'd be delighted every Saturday to dance in my living room. I think I'm not sure if I shared this. Their music it wasn't coming out good. They did a great job, but it wasn't coming out well. And even we didn't complain. We paid $15. So we turned down their music and we turned up our music, because my husband has a fantastic taste in music. And we danced to our own music in my living room. And I don't know, maybe they'll keep doing it online. I don't know, they made good money. And so I'm inviting you to have faith that there is a way and that you will find that way if you are open to it. Ask for divine guidance. This is what I say. Universe, Archangel Michael, God, universe, because I have a relationship, a divine relationship with Archangel Michael. I say, Archangel Michael, God, universe, please guide my thoughts. Please show me what you'd like for me to do next. What is it that I should know for my highest good and the highest good of all? And then I look for the happy coincidences and the synchronicities, and I look for the message, and it usually comes within 10 minutes, sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 24 hours, but it shows up. The divine guidance always shows up. And maybe the opportunity that you seek to pivot your business is right under your nose, and you just didn't even notice it. Right? And it's about actioning those opportunities. So take imperfect action. Ask, this is what I wanted to share with you. At the beginning of our 2-day meeting last week, the leverage meeting that I've been telling you about, where we had to completely pivot. I told my clients at the beginning, I said, I'm a little nervous because sometimes I want to wow you. And I get that you're entering these 2 days thinking this isn't going to be as good as when I'm in the room with her, like in an actual in real life room. So I've never done a full 2-day, 9-hour plus meeting each day on Zoom ever. I've done half days, but never full days. And I ask that you have compassion and kindness for me and my team as we figure it out. We've been preparing for weeks. I said to them, I have been up in the middle of the night sketching things out. We've had full day meetings trying to deconstruct and dissect, and how do we move it online and have it be as good, if not better. But we are going to make some mistakes. It's our first time. And so I know it's easy to be at home and to have keyboard confidence and to say, where's the workbook? And can I have these slides? And not that they talk like that. They're wonderful members and clients of ours. But I just ask that you give us some sacred kindness as we work our way through this. And they totally got it. And some things didn't work right away, but we made a long list. We call it Groundhog Day in Boldheart. What works, what doesn't. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? And what systems and processes can you put in place that are non-negotiable going forward so that you make each experience even better? And we did that. I every day made a list of all of these things, and we implemented it in real time. And so now, by the next time, our next big meeting will be this 3-day mindset retreat. We've got it dialed in, right? And so take imperfect action. Don't look to be perfect as you pivot your business. Give yourself some slack. And so I am wrapping up, and I would love to hear your biggest takeaways in the chat, in the comments. I'll share some of the biggest. Please, it would mean a lot to me if you could write down what you got from our time together today. The biggest takeaways I see for you is to take good care of yourself. Take good care of yourself, mind and body. Use this time as a catalyst to do something extraordinary with your business. Use the time, if you have extra time, to do what you haven't had time to do before. Because there is no crisis without a blessing. I really want you to get that. There is no crisis without a blessing. And so if you could look at this, what if this was the greatest thing that have ever happened to me or to my business? Look for the positive instead of immediately going to holding on to this vision. When I went to see the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala, India, a year ago, 40 of us went and spent a week with Samdung Rinpoche, his right-hand guy. I shouldn't say right-hand guy. That's not a very, he's a Buddhist monk, but we spent a week with him and met the Dalai Lama, and he shared with us that when we are depressed and we are unhappy when we have expectations of permanence. When you expect things to stay the same in any area of your life, you will be disappointed if it changes. But the problem is with that way of approaching life is that change is constant. You are not the same person you were a year ago. Your situation is likely not the same that it was a year ago, and especially in these times. And if you're trying to white knuckle, hold on to the past, white knuckle, you're not allowing the universe to give you a new way of looking at life. If you haven't yet read The Surrender Experiment by Mickey Singer, I listened to it. It's an excellent book about surrendering to what is. There is no crisis without a blessing. And if you can just surrender into this moment and look for the good, I would watch this again. I would watch this. Some of our clients have already, because I already did this for them a couple of weeks ago, they've already watched it twice, some of them 3 times. They pick up something new every day. I would invite you to watch this several times. Go through your resources list that I've given you. Invite friends of yours who are self-employed to come to this Facebook group, request access. We're going to keep this video there for a long time, as long as you need it. I'm not taking this down. I want this to be a resource, a very valuable resource for you. Invite your networks, invite your friends who are self-employed and who are questioning what to do next. Tell them, this woman, Fabienne, I didn't know about her before, but she had this free 2-hour training. And man, I got a lot out of it. You should go and be that person for your networks too. Invite people here, but also be the helpful, valuable person. If just give. The other insight I would have for you is to focus on pronoia. About paranoia. Paranoia is the belief that the world is secretly against you. Pronoia is the belief that the world is secretly conspiring in your favor. It's the opposite of paranoia. I think that way. The minute this happened, I'm like, what's going on here? After the couple days of wondering about my shortness of breath, which is gone, I started thinking, what is the good for me in here? What is the good for my family? What is good for my relationship and my marriage here? What is good for my business model, my marketing? Maybe this is an opportunity to go highly visible right now. How can I serve, and become invaluable to people? How can I pivot how I deliver things to go more global? I just asked myself these questions, and I'm inviting you to do the same. Here's the new mantra I would like to share with you. This is happening for me. You can take a screenshot of this, or you can write it down. I'll leave it long enough for you to write it down. This is happening for me. It is not happening to me. It is exactly the motivation I needed to take the next transformative step in my business. Say to the universe, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is not happening to me. This is happening for me. It is exactly the motivation I needed to take the next transformative step in my business and in my life. It's this, I've given you every element that I'm doing right now, and I'm sure I'll keep doing more. So just keep showing up in this Facebook group. I'm going to do more lives here. I'm going to do more Q&A sessions here. If I can help you, go check out boldheartlaunch.com now or in the future. I engage with the community here. Share resources with each other. look at this as maybe this is all divinely meant to be, because maybe it is. That's how I'm choosing to look at it. And that is my last slide. So I would love to just say, thank you so much for joining me today for these 7 steps to pivot. I have all the faith in you. You do not have to go at this in a place of panic or fear. First, focus on pivoting your facts. Look for alternative ways of looking at this that are good for you. Next, pivot your health. Really look at boosting your immune system so that you're not in fear and worry about what might happen to you. Pivot your mindset, choosing to only take in things that are good for you on a psychological level. Pivot your resources. There are many things that you can do around your money to make it work for you right now. Pivot your time. Use your time to grow your business, to grow yourself. Double down on your marketing. Get the training that you need. Implement. Hunker down. Rest and meditate if you need to do that. And then pivot your marketing. Become relevant. Become more prolific. Find ways to be valuable. Because even if people aren't hiring you right now, when the fog lifts in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they'll remember your kindness. They'll want to work with you then. They will have seen your heart and your kindness and your generosity. They'll say, that's the person I need to work with. And then pivot your business model. This is about getting resourceful, looking at how other people are doing it, looking at all the different ways that you can monetize the things that you love to do, the things that you're very good at, and the things that the world need that you can provide to them. This is doable, my sweet friends. We're all doing it as a community in Boldheart right now. Everybody is pivoting. Everybody is pivoting. They're pivoting everything. And we get to pivot. We get to pivot. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'm so delighted that you spent this time. This is almost exactly 2 hours. It flew by. I'm sending you all my love, and check back to this Facebook group often. Let's strengthen our community even more. Let people know about this if it could be useful for them, and I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Bye.